The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
He fired at officers after shooting and killing a man in 2020. Today, he took a plea deal that left several in the courtroom unhappy.
36-year-old Greg Anthony Delgado faces several charges, including the murder of Luis Guerrero and aggravated assault against a public servant.
Alicia Barrera has a look inside the courtroom and the defendant's reaction.
On February 21st, 2020, Luis Guerrero crashed his truck off Darby Boulevard near Highway 90 after being shot in the chest and abdomen by Greg Anthony Delgado. 2 years later, both the victim and defendant's families gathered in Judge Velia Mesa's courtroom, where Delgado settled his fate with a plea deal.
I will accept all the pleas.
On the charges of aggravated assault against a public servant, attempted capital murder of a police officer, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of a deadly weapon in a penal institution, Delgado pled the following. In a press release, District Attorney Joe Gonzalez said in part, the defendant has repeatedly been found with weapons in jail, proving he continues to be a threat to law enforcement and others. Although Delgado pled no contest to murder, he was found guilty and was sentenced to 50 years on each case that will run concurrently, a matter that has left the victim's family frustrated.
That actually made me angry, that he didn't show no kind of emotion. He seemed like unbothered.
Sí, él ha hecho muchas cosas malas y la sentencia que le dieron no estuvo correcto.
The victim's mother, Amalia Vera, said Delgado has caused a lot of harm and his sentence of 50 years isn't nearly enough. Delgado must serve at least half of his sentence before asking for parole. Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Shots echoed through downtown at a bus stop late this morning after police say two men got in an argument and pulled out guns, one then the other. Chief William McManus told media members the first man actually walked away from the fight. The second fired at him 5 or 6 times. The first man hit in the head and upper torso, was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The chief visibly frustrated by what happened.
A lot of the violence in this city is caused by altercations, arguments, road rage, just as we have here today. Somebody probably going to die because of an altercation. And somebody's real quick to pull out a gun to settle that. And that's what we have here today.
The chief says the shooter was still on the scene when police arrived and was being questioned. Not immediately clear if he would be charged.
Well, tomorrow is the big day, the primary elections. We've been talking about this all month, previewing the many races to be decided. Here's a look at the early voting numbers compared to past primary elections. This year, we saw about 97,000 early votes. That's around 24,000 less than 2020. I spoke to the Bexar County Elections Administrator today about those early voting numbers, the plan for tomorrow, and mail-in ballots. Early voting numbers slightly lower than expected this primary go-around.
The election in 2018 until now, we've had 93,000 additional people register to vote. So if we looked at that like every 10%, then it should be a 10% bump, and we didn't quite get that. And we were below the 2020.
Bexar County Elections Administrator Jackie Callanan says the weather may have contributed.
Those last couple of days of early voting were again chilly and damp. And so I think the weather has a lot to do with it. Tomorrow should be a beautiful day.
So our staff is gearing up for a busy one.
It's all systems go.
Election officials have already picked up their equipment and have been trained on some legal changes, like Senate Bill 1, which now requires voters to put additional ID information in their mail-in ballots. Many mail-in voters forgot or weren't aware and are getting those ballots returned to them. If that's happened to you, Callanan says don't panic. There's still time to fix it.
The early ballot board is here now, actually working through it, sending messages. They can cure their ballots up to 6 days after.
That means next Monday will be your deadline. The other change included in SB 1 has to do with poll watchers.
Any of the poll watchers that will be out and about tomorrow must present a certificate of training to the election officials before they're accepted.
For a list of polling locations, you can scan this QR code on your screen right now. There will still be COVID protocols in place at polling locations tomorrow. There will be gloves and hand sanitizer available. Masks are not mandatory but preferred. As Jackie Callanan said, many of the volunteers are older and more at risk.
And don't forget, VIA actually offering rides to polling locations tomorrow. All you need to show is your valid voter registration card to the bus or van driver on Election Day. They are free. The goal is to make it easier for people to get out and cast their votes. We have more information online at KSAT.com. A burglary ring in Kerr County busted. Now one man is in custody. The Kerr County deputies seized firearms, ammunition, rare collectibles, and drugs. Take a look at what they found. Bayron Bais is actually facing charges in connection with the bust from several burglaries in Kerr County and some surrounding areas. There's also arrest warrants out for 3 other suspects. Various collectibles they also found were silver, rare coins, comic books, and figurines.
Well, we just talked about it, and this is yet another argument between 2 people ending in a shooting. This time happening in the middle of a Northeast Side neighborhood not far from Nacogdoches and Judson Roads. Our Katrina Weber has the details, including where those involved are now.
Initially, police believed that the victim might have suffered a life-threatening wound, but later they told us that she was shot in the arm and that she was stable. The other woman may not be okay, though. Once police catch her, she faces criminal charges. Only the victim was still at the scene when police arrived around 3 this morning. They were responding to a call for help when they found her there in the 5800 block of Spring Valley near Nacogdoches Road. Police say that 19-year-old had been involved in a dispute with another woman, and in the middle of it, the other woman shot her, then took off in a red car. The wounded woman was able to go to a home to get help. Officers say they were not sure why the 2 were fighting or why they even were on that street in the middle of the night. Right after the shooting, police told us that they were questioning a potential witness, and now they tell us that they have some leads in this case and do expect to make an arrest. Reporting from Public Safety Headquarters, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Yet another shooting. A man and woman leaving a bar overnight shot at by strangers on the east side. That shooting happened about 11 a.m. on Bellinger Street near I-10 and Martin Luther King Drive. The pair told police 3 people allegedly began shooting at them from across the street. Eventually, the pair able to get into a car and drive to a nearby hospital. They were eventually taken to BAMC. Police say the motive behind that shooting is unknown.
Ahead of its invasion of Ukraine, Russia's deputy prime minister made the rounds in Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, authoritarian regimes supporting what Russia has done. At the United Nations, Mexico condemned the move, but the leaders of Brazil and Argentina reportedly had separate meetings in Russia with Vladimir Putin. An international relations expert at St. Mary's University tells our Jesse Degollado why the Latin American countries stand behind Putin.
Vladimir Putin's Russia is said to be considered a model by some non-democratic Latin American countries.
These states have elections, but we know they don't really determine the outcomes.
Countries like President Nicolás Maduro's Venezuela.
La paz de Rusia es la paz del mundo. Y vamos a defender la paz del mundo.
Saying the peace of Russia is the peace of the world and will defend the world's peace. And President Daniel Ortega's Nicaragua.
Le expresamos al pueblo de Rusia, le expresamos al presidente Putin nuestra solidaridad.
Declaring solidarity with the Russian people and its president. Countries that Smith says often use Russia as their lender of choice.
They don't condition things on human rights and democracy.
But by invading Ukraine, he says any business dealings Russia has with Latin America will have to get around its economic sanctions.
That's going to be tricky, though, because most trade with Latin American countries goes through bank accounts that are denominated in either U.S. dollars or euros.
Smith says if that Russian financing is cut off,
it might open the door to further instability in some of these places.
Otherwise, while Russia is trying to seize Ukraine, Smith says in Latin America, its power is more symbolic than strategic.
We have situations like Mexico or Brazil with a populist leader. There's a lot of rhetoric, but not a lot of action.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
Well, the rodeo is over and now starts a slew of events leading up to, you guessed it, Fiesta. Today was the unveiling of the official 2022 poster and medal for PacFest. The presentation happening at Palo Alto College. PacFest is a family-friendly event that has games and activities for people of all ages to enjoy and ends with a memorable fireworks show. This is the first return of the event since the COVID-19 pandemic began.
we're just really excited to bring the families back together and our community back together as we celebrate Viva, right? So celebrating life and celebrating each other, and during these really unprecedented times is the best thing that we can do for our community and for our students.
Those designs for the poster and medal are done at Palo Alto College. PACFest is happening on April 7th.
Right around the corner. Well, happening tomorrow, more than 200 volunteers will be conducting surveys on those who are experiencing homelessness. It's part of the South Alamo Regional Alliance for the Homeless Count. Sarah, the data collected will help local and federal funding decision makers best serve those in need. The annual event canceled last year due to COVID, but organizers hope to get an accurate view of the situation to eventually provide even more help to the homeless. The data will be released on May 24th.
And this weather feels like spring-like weather. As we're talking about Fiesta, I feel like...
Yeah, you'd like to say, oh, yeah, well, we're done. We're past winter. But I know not so fast.
Yeah, we never speak too soon about that. The latest freeze that we've ever had is early April, so it can come that late. Now, early this morning, we had a freeze, 31 degrees here in San Antonio, 68 the high temperature, both obviously below the averages of 48 and 70. Currently, 69 degrees, I should say, in Uvalde, 68 in San Antonio, 66 Gonzales for the most part, 60s to right near 70 degrees out there at the moment. As we go through the evening, temperatures just gradually falling off. We're talking mid 50s at 8 o'clock, and by 10 o'clock, 50 degrees. So have a jacket ready to go. Later on this evening, you'll notice that chill after the sun sets. And we do have a bit of a warming trend to talk about, that and some damp mornings ahead coming up.
Thank you, Adam. A second round of talks between Russian and Ukrainian delegates in the works as more Russian troops and tanks move deeper into the country. We have the latest from the war in Ukraine.
And more events are making their return after COVID-related cancellations. Next, we find out why athletes from the Northside ISD Special Olympics say the wait was too long.
And as we check traffic out there at 6:10 in the evening, I-10 and Frio, as things move towards downtown, you can see it is very slow going. It's moving just slowly. We'll be right back. Tonight on the Night Beat, heightened emotions erupt into gun violence once again, this time in downtown San Antonio. A local facility meant to help people manage their emotions, providing some insight into all this, what they believe is leading to more people pulling the trigger. And he's the FBI's longest serving special agent and a familiar face in San Antonio. This is Christopher Combs' last day on the job. So before he retires, we sat down with him to discuss his proudest moment and his biggest concerns. Don't miss the exclusive television interview tonight on the Night Beat at 10.
Well, after a 2-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Northside ISD Special Olympics returned today.
Yeah, many of the athletes ready to jump and run farther than they ever have in the track and field events.
Our KSAT photojournalist Robert Samaron spoke to the competitors about how great this comeback feels.
We came back in 2021 and we had to go completely virtual with the kids. It absolutely wasn't the same, no matter how hard we tried.
He's been talking about it the whole week.
It's awesome, it's cool.
Since last night, he's had his uniform ready.
It feels good and it gets you strong.
What they get most out of Special Olympics is being together, making friends.
The kids are glad to come back and be able to have this because this is their moment.
1, 2, 3, throw! Yay!
Seeing other kids with the same types of disabilities and how they're succeeding.
It's good to be back.
I can honestly say we missed it probably just as much, if not more.
Yeah!
I feel like being here is a really humbling and really fun experience. Personally, I'm probably having a good time. I was cheering the whole time up there.
Smiles. Kids smiles.
They're doing really amazing.
Kids having fun the way it should be.
They're all so excited, and no matter what place they get, they know they're all winners.
It's the best. It's the best year.
What a great day, too.
No kidding.
To have those festivities taking place.
Beautiful.
The Alamo tonight. All calm. Nothing really going on. people probably enjoying the weather in San Antonio, especially if they come from other parts of the country, Adam.
Yeah, last week, any visitors were, what's going on here?
Not the best week to visit.
Yeah, cloudy and 30, temperatures in the 30s. A very different week ahead of us here. Overall, this week is going to be much warmer. A cool night tonight. Yeah, you'll want a jacket even this evening right after sunset. Then warm afternoon tomorrow and the rest of the week. And actually a little bit of an uptick in temperatures. Soon near 80 degrees, but then some foggy, damp mornings are also on the way. Take a look at our high temperatures and what we're expecting. Tomorrow, about 71 degrees, then low to mid 70s for the rest of the work week. And as I mentioned, by Saturday, about 80 degrees. Those are the high temperatures. There's still going to be a chill in the air tonight. And I want to talk about the month of February in general. Take a look at this. Of course, today, the last day of February. So far, we're more than 6 degrees below average temperature-wise. And the coldest reading, 21 degrees on the 4th, the warmest 85. That was on the 21st and 22nd. So this time last week, we were in the mid-80s. Then temperatures really fell off for the remainder of the week. 64 out there right now, dew point of 21, calm wind, clear sky, dry air, lack of humidity, so temperatures definitely getting cool out there this evening. You'll know it pretty quickly after sunset. Castroville now 68, down to 59 in Bulverde, 61 Bernie and Canyon Lake, and 71 meanwhile still in Cotulla. This is what we're expecting tomorrow morning. Widespread 30s, most of us low to mid 30s, right near freezing in some outlying areas. I mean, Uvalde about 31. 33 in Pleasanton. We'll be pretty close in some areas. Bernie about 32, Timberwood Park 33. You get the idea. Even Elmendorf and Lavernia about 33. So low to mid 30s to start the day tomorrow. But then our morning temperatures will be on the rise. We'll be in the 40s for morning readings by Wednesday, Thursday, and then even 50s to near 60 for morning temperatures Friday and Saturday. So definitely an upward trend in temperatures, especially when it comes to those morning lows. One reason why those are going to get warmer is because we'll have an influx of humidity. Right now, very dry air. Dew points right near 20 and even in the teens. But our humidity will be increasing. Dew points on the rise in the 50s to low 60s by Thursday through the weekend. That's going to introduce some morning fog and drizzle. The morning dampness, that's just the nuisance dampness, reduced visibility and some wet roadways, but really doesn't add up to anything. Just the fog and drizzle and that mistiness in the morning. That starts on Thursday and should last through the upcoming weekend. Right now, plenty of clouds in North Texas and West Texas, New Mexico, out ahead of this little disturbance that's over the southern portion of California and even Arizona. It's a weak disturbance. It's sliding eastward, not much to it, just has those clouds. I don't even think we'll even get clipped by many of those clouds. As for the active weather, that's all in the Pacific Northwest right now. What we have here is an atmospheric river. See this big plume of clouds and precipitation and moisture coming on shore for Seattle and Washington and then spreading even into the mountains there. That's the atmospheric river, which is basically a big column of very moist air with a lot of precipitation, especially once it hits the landmass there. So that's what they're seeing, but that's not going to be moving our way. We could use something like that about now, but our rain chances are pretty slim. Just the nuisance morning dampness Thursday through the weekend. As for actual showers, about a 20% chance Sunday, and then again as we get into next Monday. But tomorrow, nothing but sunshine. From sunrise to sunset, clear sky, 37 degrees in the morning. By noon, 64. So you want the jacket at the bus stop, but later on in the day, short sleeves, A-OK, especially with that sun beating down on you. And then I mentioned by Saturday, up near 80 degrees and rain chances looking pretty slim, but the mornings will be warming up.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
All right. The Spurs have an opportunity to make a statement to end this road trip, Greg.
Yeah, because this is a team that's heavily favored against the Spurs, so a win here on the road against Memphis would be huge. When we come back, we'll get you ready for the final game of the rodeo road trip, and Russia banned from the World Cup coming up. The Memphis Grizzlies will be 8.5-point favorites tonight when the Spurs wrap up their rodeo road trip in Tennessee. That's because the Grizzlies are tied for first in the NBA in points per game with 113.8, but they also lead in a number of other categories, including number 1 in the NBA for rebounds, blocks, steals, fast break points, second chance points, and points in the paint. And John Morant is having a career year in every category except assists per game. That said, the Spurs are coming out back-to-back games that included a double overtime win in Washington, where DeJounte Murray recorded his 16th triple triple-double of his career and barely lost to the Beast of the East, Miami, on Saturday night, even though they were without 3 starters. With a win tonight, the Spurs will return home 5-3 on the rodeo road trip. What has this road trip for the rodeo been like for Keldon Johnson?
I mean, it feels good. You know, it's definitely better because, you know, we're playing well. We're having fun. We're enjoying each other. But, I mean, we've just been traveling, you know, and, I mean, we've been getting great bonding time with each other. And so I feel like it's just been going by fast. You know, I feel like we've been playing hard, having fun, and enjoying each other off the court as well. And, you know, talking, sitting down, having fun. So I think the road trip has been a blast for me.
All right, during the All-Star break, Keldon, along with teammate Lonnie Walker IV, got to attend the San Antonio Rodeo for the very first time. What did he think about it?
It was amazing. I actually went 2 nights in a row. I had so much fun the first night. I went back for the second night, and it was a blast. You know, I wouldn't change anything from that rodeo road trip. Having that time off and experiencing the Texas rodeo, it was amazing.
What event would you have been best at?
Bull riding, for sure.
Bull riding, for sure. All right, here's a matchup tonight. You see the Spurs record of 24-37, 42-20. Memphis in third of the Western Conference tonight, 7 o'clock at the FedEx Forum, and all the highlights for you tonight on the Night Beat. Russia has been removed from the 2022 World Cup competition at Qatar by Federation International Football Association due to the invasion of Ukraine, and that, along with the Union of European Football Association, all Russian national teams and clubs have been suspended until further notice. Under enormous pressure from the International Olympic Committee, FIFA and the European Union confirmed Russia will not be allowed to compete in the World Cup, and that Russia's women's team will be removed from the European champions that were set to be staged in England in July. Grambling State head coach Hugh Jackson defended his decision to hire Art Briles as his offensive coordinator, but reports are that Briles is already out. Jackson, the former head coach of the Cleveland Browns, took over at Grambling State in December and is now was trying to give Briles a second chance in college football. The school has come under heavy criticism since this is the first job in college football since Briles was fired by Baylor in 2016 following an independent investigation into numerous sexual assault allegations against the Baylor football program. This afternoon, ESPN's Pete Thamel tweeted out that Briles was officially out as offensive coordinator per sources. We'll have more on this developing story on the Night Beat. Today is the day, unless the Major League Baseball Owners and Players Association reach a new agreement, the lockout will not end, and the start of the baseball season on March the 31st will be pushed back. The two sides are still at odds on the main economic issues, and the owners set today, Monday, as the last day before games will have to be canceled and the season shortened. And now, according to reports, the owners are willing to sacrifice a month of games to get the deal they want. Progress is not going to happen very fast in those times.
Come on, Major League Baseball.
Going to happen again.
Yeah. Okay. Doing it to themselves.
We'll be right back.
It is a war that has certainly caught the world's attention. Russia invading Ukraine. To help us put some historical perspective on all this, Dr. Rosa Aloisi, associate professor at political science at Trinity University. She is an expert in international relations. She's our guest on KSAT Q&A. Professor, thank you for joining us. Is it as easy as saying Vladimir Putin is trying to put the band back together, that he's trying to put the Soviet Union back together since Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union? Is it that simple?
It's not that simple. I'm sure in his mind it is that simple, in the sense that I believe that Putin has this idea that Ukraine and Belarus should still be part of the Soviet bloc of Russia. So we do have that sense that, in a way, Putin is trying to expand his territorial sovereignty towards the countries that he believes to still belong to the Soviet Union. We should not forget that if we look at the history and the most recent history of Russians mingling into Ukraine's affair, since 2004, we have had Putin very closely looking at the elections that were taking place in Ukraine and trying to maneuvering whoever was going to be in charge of Ukraine's government. Again, Crimea's annexation was just one step, and so probably this is something that it was about to come.
Professor, we talk a lot about the sanctions, and that's a lot of what the international community is talking about. What can we do? What else can America and its allies be doing? What tools do we have left in our toolbox when it comes to Russia when this invasion is continuing as it is?
Yeah, as you were mentioning, Courtney, economic sanctions have been one of the best tools that the international community has to face this type of challenges to the international stability of order. What else we can do? We can definitely say that the United Nations Security Council on Sunday held a meeting trying to condemn Russia's actions into Ukraine. And given the fact that the United Nations Security Council wasn't able to reach a decision because Russia is a permanent member and vetoed that decision, the next step now is on the table. The next decision now is on the table of the United Nations General Assembly. A strong condemnation from the countries on the United Nations General Assembly and a possible isolation of Russia would be one of the best steps to undertake, short of any military intervention, which right now seems not to be on the table of the leaders of the United Nations.
There's talks that are going on between Russian and Ukrainian diplomats. Any hope that a ceasefire at least will come out of this, or some sort of impasse will happen?
Well, from my understanding, we really know very little about the outcome of those peace talks. So they seem to have been interrupted at a certain point yesterday, European time. And they then started again, but the outcome seems to just be indicating that there are some points in common, in agreement. But when it comes to the ceasefire, going to your point, Steve, I think that one of the most important aspects that we need to understand is that at this moment in time, despite the peace talks, Russian troops are moving through Ukraine. So there is an indication that some troops have moved from Kiev and they are now bombing other areas that are not farther away from Kiev. Kharkiv and Karatorm are two of the cities that have been under attack. And most of those attacks are against civilian populations, not necessarily military targets. So the ceasefire seems not to be working, if that was one of the points discussed at the peace talks.
There's a huge humanitarian crisis we're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees counted about 500,000 refugees right now. The borders, Belarus-Poland borders are taken, let's say, by the refugees that are trying to flee Kiev. Most of the civilians are just trying to go into Poland. Most of the countries in Europe have said that they are ready to welcome more refugees to come. So it's a huge humanitarian crisis that should be put on the agenda of the United Nations General Assembly first and foremost.
One quick last question, Professor. The International Criminal Court investigation that's going on, what is the timeline for something like that? Because obviously so much goes into these things.
So Karim Khan, which is the International Criminal Court prosecutor, said that he started an investigation into war crimes and crimes against humanity. The move is being particularly welcomed by those that work in international criminal justice. But speaking to your question, it might be a long time before an investigation solidifies, especially because we are in an ongoing situation and gathering evidence about crimes that are being committed against the civilian population is particularly difficult. Sure, this is a first step. We are short of speaking of aggression, again, because Russia is on the United Nations Security Council, so it would be very difficult to discuss a crime of aggression. But it's definitely a step toward the right directions.
It's a man that a lot of people have studied and tried to predict. Is there any predicting what Vladimir Putin will do?
not really. We all hope that Vladimir Putin will come to a rational point of view and will just stop any further action. But it is very unpredictable. We do not know its real intentions, and we really fear for especially the states, the governments, and the neighboring countries that are not NATO member that might be fearing some attacks.
Dr. Rosa Aloisi at Trinity University, thank you for your insight and your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Take care. We'll be right back.
More economic sanctions against Russia this afternoon as the unified and intense international backlash grows against Vladimir Putin and his military invasion of Ukraine.
Switzerland, historically known to have a neutral stance, breaking with its longstanding policy, freezing Russian assets. Meantime, Ukrainian and Russian delegates considering a second round of talks.
Here's ABC's Faith Abube with more.
Tonight, as Russia's war in Ukraine intensifies, Finland joining a growing number of countries sending military aid to Ukraine, including thousands of assault rifles and anti-tank weapons. Ukrainian forces and civilians are in a fierce battle to defend their homeland from Russian troops seeking to take control of their capital city. These satellite images showing a miles-long Russian military convoy headed towards Kyiv.
I was helping my husband to pack for a war, and then I thought, okay, he's going to war. I'm going to.
The fighting skills of the Ukrainian people and fuel supply shortages so far slowing down the Russian troops.
The Russian military seems incompetent.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin warning the West he has put his nuclear deterrent forces on high alert, claiming the move is a response to aggressive statements from NATO countries against Russia.
We've seen Mr. Putin's announcement. We believe it's as unnecessary as it is escalatory.
Ukraine's ambassador to the UN saying Putin's actions seem suicidal.
If he wants to kill himself, he doesn't need to use nuclear arsenal. He has to do what the guy in Berlin did in a bunker in May 1945.
In just the past 5 days, a senior U.S. defense official says Russian forces have fired at least 380 missiles into Ukraine. Russia insists its troops are not targeting civilians. But the U.S. State Department says the Kremlin's attacks have damaged and destroyed schools, hospitals, and homes, killing and injuring civilians, including children. After 6 hours meeting behind closed doors near the Ukraine-Belarus border, Ukrainian and Russian delegates say they're considering a second round of negotiations. In the meantime, the AP says Ukraine's President Zelensky has filed a genocide case against Russia at the UN's highest court, asking The Hague to intervene to stop the Russian invasion and order the Kremlin to pay reparations. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
On this last day of Black History Month, a reminder, history happens every day of the year. Let's go to Iowa right now, where Pastor Diane Koger became the first woman to lead a Black Baptist church in that state. It's a road she started on in 2016 when Second Baptist Church began searching for a leader. She officially took over the role in 2018.
And now, as the first Black woman to pastor a Baptist church in Iowa, she's out to make sure future generations know it is not too late to be a first. And now to Target, that is making moves beyond Black History Month to celebrate and uplift Black lives every day of the year with products like these, part of a collection called Creating Our Own Future. 86% of the items in this collection were created by Black business owners and designers, the most ever for the collection. Target has plans to continue mentoring and partnering with Black entrepreneurs and creators.
The Target also donated millions to social justice organizations and plans to invest more than $2 billion in Black-owned brands by 2025. All right, Batman keeping watch over London. See him right there?
I see him.
In a stunt to promote the new Cape Crusader film, a man dressed as the Dark Knight perched atop one of the cabins of the London Eye as the sun rose over the capital city. The Batman, yeah, starring Robert Pattinson, is out in UK theaters on March 4th.
And this is the 13th Batman-led film, including sequels and animated films. But they always do so well.
I guess I should call them cinemas.
Yes.
Cinemas.
Like they do, you know,
You got to get that right.
You got to get it right, Steve.
UK cinemas. Theaters are something different. There. I just want to make sure I don't offend,
anybody.
The expats from Britain that work here at KSAT.
Will.
All right, beautiful day, though.
Yeah, gorgeous day today. It was chilly earlier this morning, actually. We had a low temperature, a little below freezing. We started off at 31, then by the afternoon, 68 for the high temperature, both below average. But, highs right around 70, upper 60s near 70. Not so bad. Now, morning temperatures are going to be changing quite a bit. Another chill in the air tomorrow morning, low to mid 30s. Some outlying locations briefly hitting freezing, but then by Wednesday morning, lower 40s. Thursday, Friday, near 50 and into the 50s. So those morning temperatures will be getting warmer the rest of this week. Actually, on this topic, let's take a look at our average last freeze across our area. For Del Rio, that's February 19th. For San Antonio, that's February 24th. You get up into the hill country, Kerrville, your average last freeze. Look at that difference, March 28th. Okay, so big difference between the hill country and elsewhere. Now, the latest we've seen a freeze here in town is actually April 3rd. That was back in 1987. So you look at the records and history, and a freeze is possible at any point all the way up through the first few days of April. Temperatures now, of course, far from freezing, but they'll be cooling pretty efficiently this evening. Right now, 61 in Lubbock, Houston, 62 degrees, Junction at 70, Brownsville, 61. A mixture of 60s and 70s for now, but we'll quickly be falling down into the 50s now that sun is down and getting low in the sky, and we're got the nighttime descending upon us. So 50s, then 40s this evening. Have a jacket if you'll be outdoors. The chill is going to creep up on you pretty quickly, I think. And then by tomorrow morning, we'll eventually be in the 30s. It's about 31 in Uvalde, 35 in Canyon Lake, Pleasanton, 33 degrees. Here in San Antonio, downtown and within 410, probably about 36, 37, but some outlying areas could get a little closer to freezing. But by tomorrow afternoon, we get a few degrees warmer than today, in the lower 70s and even some mid 70s along the Rio Grande and farther south down I-35. But Livonia 71, Castroville 73 tomorrow. Beautiful afternoon. Those afternoon temperatures change a little bit, mid 70s Wednesday through Friday. Then Saturday, we bump back up to 80 degrees. So feeling a little spring-like, and not only a little bit warmer, but also muggier as well. We have some clouds in North Texas. They're mainly going to stay north of us tonight and tomorrow. But you look at the surface winds. We've got this area of high pressure at the ground here. And you always get the clockwise wind flow around these high pressure systems. This high is going to slide eastward. So with that clockwise flow, it's going to put us in that wind coming off the Gulf of Mexico later on this week. And that's going to increase our mugginess and our humidity. So very dry air right now. Dew points teens to right near 20. But as we go through the week, especially end of the week and into the weekend, that's when dew points are on the rise in the 50s to near 60, particularly Friday through Sunday. With that extra humidity, we'll have the warmer mornings, but we'll also have some damp mornings with some fog and drizzle out there. So here's the breakdown. Tomorrow, nothing but sunshine, 37 in the morning, near 70 by the afternoon. Not much of a breeze. It's going to be variable at about 3 to 8 miles per hour. Same goes for Wednesday. The stronger wind off the Gulf of Mexico, that'll kick in later this work week and stay through the weekend. And that's going to give us the morning fog, drizzle, and just that nuisance dampness. That doesn't add up to anything, but gives us that grayness to start the day and that dampness. By Sunday and Monday, a slight chance, a 20% chance of a few actual showers.
But at least that's holding off tomorrow if you're going to the polls.
There you go. In case you missed it, coming up next.
And good morning to you. It is the last day of the month. It's Monday, February 28th.
Police say a young woman got into an altercation with another woman, and that's when someone pulled out a gun and shot. The young woman was shot in the arm. Police are speaking with another woman who was with the victim at the time of the shooting, but so far, no charges have been filed.
Today, San Antonio police looking for 3 people wanted connection to a shooting on the city's east side overnight.
The shooting happened around 1 this morning in the 300 block of Bellinger. That's just west of I-10. Police say a man and woman were leaving a bar when 3 people started shooting at them from across the street.
And a toddler who was shot in the head has died from her injuries. The shooting happening earlier this month on Dublin Street near Pickwell Drive. Initially, officers were sent out for a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but once at the scene, officers said 2-year-old Jules Gonzalez had been shot.
Murdered in broad daylight. The question is, who did it? First at 5, San Antonio police investigating a woman's death.
They say people near the 100 block of Inner Park reported hearing gunshots followed by the sound of a car taking off. It was around 1:15 this afternoon. Officers arrived to find a woman on the ground who had been shot. They say EMS tried life-saving measures, but she did die at the scene.
A mass exodus from Ukraine causing Europe's largest refugee crisis in the shortest amount of time since World War II.
We face what could easily become Europe's worst humanitarian and refugee crisis in decades, with the numbers of refugees and internally displaced multiplying by the minute.
As fighting intensifies, more and more people fleeing the country.
Cooling off pretty quickly this evening, and by tomorrow morning, low to mid 30s. So that's 37 downtown, but Timberwood Park 33, 32 in Bernie, 33 Seguin and Lavernia. And then by the afternoon, we warm up quickly with a lot of sunshine, back up to around 70 degrees. But I think many locations in the lower 70s. By Saturday, 80 degrees. But get ready for the morning fog, drizzle, and nuisance dampness starting Thursday.
Thank you so much for watching. It's fun joining you all today.
Yeah, good to see you. All right, we'll see you tonight on the Night Beat at 10.